Do you really wanna taste it? Welcome back to the Creative Differences podcast. I'm Dallas, and I have the Peacemaker intro song stuck in my head, but shouting, do you want to taste it, is not socially acceptable in most settings.
No, it's not. Hi, I'm Gabby, and I don't have something for this segment today.
I'm Colin, and I don't either. I'm 0 for 3. So,
You really just got to say your name. You don't have to do a thing.
yeah, but like,
I know.
you
So much more
established a
fun, though.
tradition, and so now I feel like I gotta,
Fair. You scoff at tradition.
And I'm Demi, and I'm still wondering if the Briarwoods are looking for a third. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, we are doing a review for Uncharted, Peacemaker, and the Legend of Vox Machina.
See, here's the thing about you, is that you want to slip these things in and then get into, okay, let's girl,
We'll
what
get
was
to it
that?
when we get to Vox Machina.
Yeah,
I mean, I
definitely have a
guess
question.
so, but that was tremendous horny energy right off the top, and that's just...
Honestly, though, do they need a third?
Gabby understands. Gabby knows what's
They are
up.
hotties. They
They probably are. Probably looking.
I didn't pick up on what Demi was saying, and I thought about it. I was like, a third. Got it. But before we get into all the debauchery, please like and share and subscribe and rate and do all these fun things, because most of us can say nigga without Spotify having to do PR control.
That's so true.
I'm the one that can't. I'm
We
the one
know.
that's left out.
The
But it's
fact
okay.
that
I
that's
don't
a
wanna say it.
selling point.
Gabby, we're glad that
mean,
you
hey.
understand that you can't say it.
I've never wanted to.
Actually,
good.
that reminds me, when we get to the Chip and Dale section, remind me that I had a nigga-specific question.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
I love that. It's my favorite kind of question.
All right. Do you guys want to get started? Because we've got so much stuff to talk about today.
Yeah. Uncharted.
Woo.
Right?
Yep,
Cool, let's
Uncharted.
start with that. Uncharted is directed by Ruben Fleischer. He directed 30 Minutes or Less, Venom, and the two Zombieland movies. It is written by Rafe Lee Judkins and the writing duo of Art Markham and Matt Holloway. So Rafe, apparently, he wrote for Chuck, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and developed The Wheel of Time. So he is just catered
I
to
love all of those shows.
Demi. Yeah, when I was
Damn.
looking at this guy, I was like, oh, this is Demi's person.
Ugh, I love all
And
those shows.
for the writing duo of Art Markham and Matt Holloway, are y'all ready for some range?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, let's see his
They
range.
wrote Iron Man.
Okay.
They also wrote Transformers: The Last Night, and they wrote Men in Black International.
See, that doesn't feel like range. It feels like they're all in the same wheelhouse. But if you're talking about how they were received,
That's what I
Yes.
meant
No,
by
that's
range.
that's definitely a quality thing.
Yeah, range in like that time that we talked about the guy writing Green Lantern and then writing Logan.
Yeah.
right.
Like those
hit
are
and
both
miss.
comic book movies, so it's not that kind of range, but it's like, whoa, you have quite
You wrote that, but you also wrote that.
Yeah, that was wild. Anyway,
But like it has you wondering like what got whittled out of it. That like of some versus others.
yeah, I think a lot of these movies too are written by like teams as well, so can't
A lot
put
of
it all on
rewrites
these two.
involved.
True.
Yeah.
Studios. Money. It stars Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Sofia Ali, Tati Gabrielle, and Antonio Banderas. The IMDb summary is: street smart Nathan Drake is recruited by seasoned treasure hunter Victor Sully Sullivan to recover a fortune amassed by Ferdinand Magellan and lost 500 years ago by the House of Moncada. So yeah, treasure. It's a treasure movie. They're looking for treasure.
Hey guys, can you believe it? I managed to get both Dallas and Gabby to go see Uncharted. What?
She did. She made us sad, or like she was like,
Whoa.
I didn't make you
"Dang," after
sad.
a sad thing.
We
Sorry, you
we
took
went-
advantage of our sadness. I'm just kidding.
It's not what happened. We were
It's not-
eating, and she
Thank
said,
you,
"Hey,
Dallas.
you guys want to come to the movie after this?" And we said yes.
Yes, that's true.
Like we were at lunch, and she was like, "Yo, you want to watch Uncharted?" And we were like, "Yeah."
The theater's not packed if
didn't
you guys would like to watch
Emotionally manipulate
Oh,
us, guy. Goodness gracious.
That's true.
it. I know, right? Whoa, make me out to seem
Make
like
us
a
sound like a
bad
villain.
guy.
Wait,
Yes.
at the end though, I was like, "Oh, we're reviewing that tomorrow," and you were like, "That was part of my plan." And then I
That was part
expected
of
you
the
to walk
plan.
away like, "Mwahahaha," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's definitely part
So-
of the plan, though.
as the outside observer, what I'm hearing is Demi just extended an invitation as a normal friend thing to do,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
you
happened.
chose to accept it.
But then punctuated at the end with "That was part of my plan."
Fair.
So then I was like, "Wait, was I manipulated?"
And Gabby took that and ran with it.
That
Anyway,
was the movie.
back to
Yeah, what did you
Uncharted.
guys think?
I liked it. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a great deal, mostly because I enjoy Tom Holland a great deal.
Fair.
And
It's true.
yeah, I don't know anything about the games, so
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
glad I could go in without worrying about how they adapted it. Because I was like, I don't care.
I think we should preface this by saying, like, the 3 of us who actually did see this movie have never played this game and have no previous knowledge of it, so everything that we are judging this movie on is seriously just based on the movie that we saw and not on
Yeah,
any previous knowledge
Yeah.
of the video games.
right.
Yeah, I'm so sorry if you saw this movie and you hated it because it ruined your favorite video game.
Yeah, but that's
But
your
that's not
personal
us.
problem, not ours. Deal with it.
Also,
Um,
like, the game is still there. You can just play it again. It's fine.
That's true.
You're fine.
There's 4 of
Also
them,
true.
right? There's 3 or 4
Yes,
of
there
them?
are.
There's
I think
so
there are
many.
4 mainline ones, and then I think like Chloe got a spin-off or something. I don't remember.
Cool.
All right, Chloe, I see you.
Gabby, what
Um
do you think of the movie?
Yeah, Gabby, what you think of the movie?
Your initial thoughts.
I thought it was charming and delightful. And I think I caught like later I looked them up and I was like, "Oh, okay, so that was a reference." Cuz some of the stuff felt like, "Oh, is this getting like a look on it because it's like, look, it's from the game." And then
Gotcha.
later I was like, some of the things that I noticed they were. So I was like, "Wow." And that's it. That's all I caught.
I feel like the only game reference I caught was the fact that there was a Naughty Dog sticker in his trunk at the beginning of the movie, which I was like, "Hey, Naughty Dog made the game." Anyway, I thought the movie was a
Oh,
lot of fun. I thought the story was like it's an entertaining treasure hunt. It is definitely a lot more plot driven than it is character driven. I had a lot of fun, especially since the 3 of us had a very emotionally taxing day before we actually went to go see the movie. It was nice to unwind and decompress by going to see a movie that was really entertaining and really kept your focus.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's kind of just like a lighthearted. People call movies lighthearted romps, and that's not
Lighthearted jaunts.
the way I like to describe a movie. John's better, but yeah, it
Why
was
is
fun. It was a
Jaunt
fun
better
time.
than Romp?
I don't know. Romp has a
Romp
different kind
feels
of feel to it.
raunchier for some weird reason.
Yep.
I guess it can be used in
I
that
understand
context.
your
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah, like Jaunt is never used to like
Yeah. No.
talk about piping somebody.
John is just walking or something.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
taking a jaunt down the street. What was I gonna say? I did catch the Naughty Dog sticker. I was like, "Hey, Naughty Dog," and the one cameo that they were
Oh,
like
yeah, and I
really
caught the
focused in
cameo.
on. I was like, "Ah!" I
That
love
was
that guy.
great.
That one I
I
caught
I,
too.
I
Yeah.
caught it too.
It was They were like, "Hey, look, cameo," but it was dope.
Yeah. I went to
Yeah.
this movie for 3 reasons. Number 1 being the genre, because I love adventure movies, Indiana Jones,
Mhm.
Tomb Raider style movies. I really, really like Tom Holland, because I'm a Tom Holland fan, and Tati
Mhm.
Gabrielle, because I'm a Tati
Yes.
Gabrielle fan. And I liked all those things about
Yep.
this movie.
Yeah, all of those were great.
Got what I wanted.
She's a great menacing psychopath. I've never seen her before because I didn't watch Sabrina.
Yeah, if you watch Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, it's just like, oh yeah, of course she's playing an antagonist. She's so
Mm.
good at playing that type of role. She's very intimidating as Braddock in this movie, which I anticipated she would be. When she came on screen for the first time, I did say out loud to myself, I wonder what voice she's going to use, because the voice that she
Yeah.
uses in Sabrina is not her voice, and the voice that she uses here isn't her voice either.
Interesting.
The voice that she uses in this movie is a lot like Prudence, but without the accent, which is funny. But yeah, I liked her character.
Okay.
She was intimidating. They used her a lot more than I thought that they were going to use her in this movie. Yeah, I thought she was going to disappear after a while.
Yeah. Or that like they would use Antonio Banderas way more than her.
Yeah, I did too. Her
Yeah.
character's signature weapon in the movie is a karambit, which is a knife that I currently have an obsession with. So I was like, I love this so much, which means that a lot of her fighting style had to do with using it. But I do wish we got to understand a little bit more why these like really huge dudes were willing to follow her. Like she's
Yeah.
so
She's scary.
small in compare. She's scary, yeah, but like these are grown men.
Yeah.
Like also,
Like
I
cover
just
her
want to
muscles.
say this is the second movie in a row where age clearly doesn't matter, because she's supposed to be Mark Wahlberg's like ex-lover or something, but she's definitely around the same age as Tom Holland and Sophia Ali.
I mean,
Age gaps exist in the real world, obviously.
right.
I just thought it
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah, that's not as weird as like,
Yeah. It's not
Wonder
like a
Woman
hookup
being Shuri's classmate,
age.
because he could be on some like DiCaprio stuff. If that's his bag, that's his bag. But yeah, she's scary. She's
Don't
hot.
like
She has a
that.
cool voice. People listen to her. Also, speaking of her voice, so I didn't know what her actual voice. I still don't know what her actual voice sounds like.
I'm
but
gonna send
her
you a video
voice-
later so that you can hear
Okay,
it.
cool. I
Yeah,
wasn't
me
ready
either.
for
Send
how
us a
much
group
her
chat,
voice
'cause-
in this movie reminded me of Cree Summer,
Mm.
because it has that like
Oh.
subtle, not really raspy, But you know how the way that Cree Summer describes her own voice is it sounds like 1,000 miles of dirt road, which I think is hilarious.
It's
What?
amazing. That's such a good
Yeah.
description.
I love Cree Summer so much.
Also, fun fact about Tati, she went to high school with Zendaya.
Oh, damn. Oh, they all
Dope.
went to that Hollywood high school?
They went to high school in Oakland.
Hey,
Oh,
Dark
I
House
didn't know
Rhymes again.
Zendaya was huffing it all the way back up there, though, to go to school. Oh, damn, I didn't know.
Also, there was a moment during the movie where Kayla turned to me and said she would make a good Catwoman, and I'm like, yeah, that's an actress right there that I definitely would put in the category of you could play Catwoman.
I can see that.
Oh, yeah, she 100% could.
I
This movie
support
was so
you in this,
charming.
but do we need more cat women? Like, can
No,
we-
but we're just saying that
Yes,
like there are
always.
actresses that give off the energy, and she's definitely one of those actresses who gives off that energy.
Mm.
Yeah. Sometimes you see you're like, I know a role that you would fit very well.
Mhm.
But you don't
And
have to
it's
jump
that
into it right now.
one.
Anyway,
But this movie was
Gabby, you
really
said it was charming?
It was adorable. Yeah.
Tom Holland is always charming, so
I
that automatically makes it kind of charming.
True.
Yeah. I'm like in the Demi camp that it was like way more plot driven. And I would have liked to know a little bit more about everybody else, but I feel like there's room for growth here. And it was like delightful regardless. Like I was still having a great time. I was like, there's some bits missing, but overall, I'm really enjoying this. Especially considering how hard this movie was to make. I low key expected it to be a disaster.
They've been trying to make this movie
And-
since 2008.
Yeah.
gracious.
So, I expected it to just be like, well, we finally did it. And then no one else will ever hear about it again. But it was just like, I'm cool with the sequel. Like, this would be great as a sequel.
Oh yeah, I'd have fun with the franchise of these.
Yeah. And I feel like it's the first video game movie that I've seen that I'm like, oh, this isn't a total disaster.
Detective Pikachu?
I didn't
like that
see
one.
that.
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
You
was
should.
fun.
It is not a total disaster.
it is a lot of fun.
But yeah, other than Detective Pikachu, but I feel like this one's a pretty solid bet. Like, I was like, wow, this is great.
I did like Sophia Ali as Chloe Fraser.
She was cool.
Yeah, I would be interested to see more of her dynamic with Nate as the movies go along, especially with the way that it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like their little I don't trust you, you don't trust me back and forth dynamic.
I love that no one trusts anyone in this movie. They're all
Yeah.
like,
Like,
they're
you're
all
not-
like,
Bunch of
what
scumbags.
yeah, I was like, holy smokes.
In a story about people who are treasure hunting, yeah, you probably shouldn't trust anybody.
Fair.
I guess.
They're all mercenaries.
Oh, I guess they are.
Is that what we would call them?
Yes, they're all mercenaries.
Don't you need to be working for someone else to be a mercenary? Like someone hires you to do a thing? I feel like if you're just doing your own thing,
I mean, Chloe got
like,
hired at
person.
one point. Braddock got
Chloe
hired
did
at
get
one
hired.
point.
I was thinking
Sully
more.
usually is getting hired by people.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so they're all mercenaries except for like Nate, who is now in the mercenary game.
I thought Sully was just like, I'm just gonna steal some stuff because I'm white and I want money.
I think he's both.
Got it. Yeah, he has a likable charisma. He's kind of a scumbag, but you can't really hate him.
Because he's charming at the end of it.
I got the same vibe off of Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg's dynamic as I did when like watching Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. in like the MCU movies, except that, a lot more shady, obviously, because they're
Way
not
shadier.
good guys, except for Nate. But the whole point of the movie is kind of Nate learning how to be less of a good guy.
Well,
Yeah.
that's an interesting way to put it.
It's true.
Yeah. I also liked how much they razzed each other. That was great. How they were just like,
There's a big old
Impatient
school
and,
versus
like-
new school theme going throughout the movie.
Yeah, and it felt natural. It didn't feel like, oh, back in my day, the kids these days don't know what the blah blah blah. Like, he takes his phone. It's like, why do you have so many apps open? What are you doing? Like, it's subtle stuff like that.
that's very normal
Yeah,
things
like
to
Mark
complain to
Wahlberg isn't
older
like
people
wagging his
about.
fingers. Like, you kids need to get off those phones.
I feel like we did not talk enough about Tom Holland, but like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, we did.
Tom Holland
mean-
does what Tom Holland does. Like, he's great. He bulked up for this film. This is definitely the biggest
Oh.
he's been.
Yeah, that scene where he's exercising, I was like,
Yeah, Spider-Man is muscular, but like he was bulky in this movie.
Yeah,
and he looked
Okay,
grown. I was like, he doesn't
so-
look like a teenager for once. Wow. I mean, he's not playing one, but I believe the age.
So for reference, now it's I want this twunk obliterated and not I want this twink obliterated. I'm just trying to keep track.
Only you could give us the definitions of those.
Yeah, that's
We
really
have
that's your thing, man. That's your bag.
That's your area
Well,
of
I
I didn't know
mean-
there was
expertise.
such thing as a twunk. What's a twunk?
A built twink.
I mean, that makes sense.
It's like twink and hunk put together.
So like a muscular dude with no hair.
Well, yeah.
At what point
And
do you
small.
stop being in the twink umbrella?
I don't know.
Can you be big enough that you're just a big dude now?
I don't know. I don't know where
Yeah.
the line is.
Goodness gracious. Anyway. Oh, speaking of grumpy men, Antonio Banderas' character, I'm
Actually,
just gonna call
Spanish.
him right.
For
Goodness.
once.
Good job. Not
He
extremely
still
Greek.
doesn't speak in the accent though. He doesn't sound like a snake. He's not like
All right.
What?
They lisp. So they sound like snakes when they're talking.
Way to
This
call
is
them
getting
out.
targeted.
Jesus.
Oh, I mean, we don't like the colonizer, man. And they hate our Spanish. They like talk shit about our Spanish, and we're like sitting here like, you lisp on purpose, bro. Like,
Dallas, what were you saying
no.
about
This is not
Antonio
where I thought this was
Banderas?
going. Yes, so his character, who I'll call Evil Antonio Banderas because I don't know his name, he didn't
Moncado.
have a lot going on. There you go. Thank you. He was just kind of an evil rich guy, but Antonio Banderas is dope, so the character has some of that dopeness inherently. I don't really like flat villains, but
Yeah,
if you're gonna have a flat villain, at least have a dope actor play him. So they got that.
it was shot really well. There was like one sequence that straight up reminded me of a video game cutscene. Yeah, everything like looks really good. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I recommend it if you like the Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones, Dora the Explorer type stuff.
Oh, I forgot about Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, she got one too.
I never saw that.
It's I wouldn't recommend it. All right, you guys. Gabby, final thoughts?
I liked it. It was fun.
All right.
I had a great time. Really glad to see Tati Gabrielle in her I feel like this is her first blockbuster film. Hope to see her do
I
more.
think so.
Tom Holland is going to continue to do more. We already know this. I wouldn't mind getting some sequels. This would be a fun franchise to follow along the way. And there's definitely room for these movies to grow because this one was fun and it was, pretty good, but it can still be better. So I'm down for that. I would love to see more character development as the movies go along. All right, next up, Dallas, me and you, man. Let's go. Peacemaker. Do you really want to
Oh man, it's so good. All right, Peacemaker, created by James Gunn and starring John Cena, Danielle Brooks, Freddie Stroma, oh boy, Chukwudi Iwuji, Jennifer Holland, Steve Ag, and Robert Patrick. The IMDb summary is picking up where the Suicide Squad left off. Peacemaker returns home after recovering from his encounter with Bloodsport, only to discover that his freedom comes at a price. Just like in the Suicide Squad, but different.
Yo,
because
this show is
less Viola Davis.
so good.
It's really, man, James Gunn has a talent
He's
for
so
just
talented.
being ridiculous and making it work.
I legitimately
All the
didn't
time.
think I was gonna like this show as much as I thought I was gonna like it. I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I do.
Yeah, I knew I'd enjoy it, and it pretty much landed somewhere where I thought it would on my enjoyment anticipation. But it did make me feel things I wasn't expecting,
Yeah.
which is good because you don't want to go through however many episodes this is and just think, haha, that's funny. Oh man, that's gross.
I think it's funny because most of my notes are about how amazing James Gunn is at doing certain things.
Mm.
I can't believe he made us hate Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad, and that movie came out in August 2021, I
Mhm.
think.
Yep.
Some
So
of
in
that.
the span of about 6 months, he went from making us hate this character to having you grow to like him or even love him possibly. He did that in the span of half a year with a movie and a
Yeah.
TV show. And not even a long TV show too. It was 8 episodes.
Right. I'm very glad that they did what they did with Peacemaker's character, especially
Yeah.
in relation to his dad, because you see, oh, this is what a trash person really looks like. Like he's the worst person on television.
I feel like that was the only way to make something like this work was that you had to have a character who was even worse than Peacemaker himself so that you could go, "Oh, you're bad, but that guy's the devil."
And establish, why Peacemaker's like this, and establish that, well, that's more about like the dumb stuff he says than his violent murders.
Yeah.
But we'll
And I
come back
think
to
that James Gunn does it the writing that he's done for this show, it allows John Cena to really showcase how good of an actor he is. Because I don't think I
Mhm.
realized how good John Cena was as an actor until I watched this show. There are a lot of emotional moments from him in this.
Yeah, and he always gets to be the funny guy or just the big guy, but not usually.
Or both at the
Like if
same
he's
time.
doing something serious, it's not usually going to be a lot of comedy. He's very funny. We've seen him in Trainwreck and stuff like that. We know John Cena can be hilarious, but then also we'll see him, and I think
In
he's
Fast
in
and
Bumblebee
Furious.
and Fast and Furious, and he can be stoic, but that shows no range from him. But to see both at the same time, like we see the drama, we see the emotion, we see him saying ridiculous things and being hilarious. So shout out to John Cena.
Yeah. But also, all the characters are really awesome too. And again, James Gunn doing a lot of great character work
Hmm.
because all of them get their moment to shine and we get to understand them a lot better. Some of them are characters that we saw in the Suicide Squad who didn't have a lot of screen time because they were just, agents of Task Force X.
Right. I want to talk about Vigilante.
Vigilante's so cool. I love him. He's so dumb though.
He's such. It's not even like I can just say he's an idiot. Like the things that he says are unhinged. Like I don't understand
He's a
why you're like this.
genuine sociopath.
But after episode 4, I can't not love him
Oh, I love
because of
him.
the scene where he goes into the prison.
Oh, it's great. Him
Uh,
pissing off the white supremacists is
That's the
so
best scene in the
fantastic.
show. He goes into yeah, we're trying not to be very spoilery, but I just have to describe this scene. He goes into a prison because he wants to kill someone in there. And he sits down at a table of white supremacists and he says, "Hey guys." He basically is like, let's do an icebreaker. All right, cool. How about this? We'll go around the table and we'll talk about ways that we're grateful for things that Black Americans contributed to culture. And they're just looking at him and he's like, I'll go first. And he's like, I am thankful that Black people gave us rock and roll. And he starts talking about like all the white artists that stole from Black people. And he's just going in and this is like, oh my God, it's the best.
Vigilante
It's the
is
best
so
thing.
strange because yes, he's a sociopath, I think. Like he does not feel emotion in any normal fashion. But
Right.
he's also very understanding of the fact that being a racist, being a sexist, being any of those things is bad and he will not take part in those things.
Right. One of my favorite interactions is he's talking to Peacemaker and he's like Peacemaker is coming to terms with the fact that obviously his dad is racist.
Yes.
And Vigilante's like, yeah, so we got to kill him, right? He's like, what? No. And he's like, why? He's like, because he's my dad. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. It's just like, yeah, he's right. We got to kill him.
Yeah, I think also one of the great things that James Gunn does with Peacemaker is that we kind of come to discover that Peacemaker is, and me and you talked about this in the group chat, he's a bad guy partially because he's got a childlike naivete about him. Like he's just
Hmm.
really naive about things and he believes a lot of misinformation and things that he reads because he just has no critical thinking skills whatsoever. There's something childlike about him, which I think makes it a lot easier to like him even when he's doing bad things because you're like, "Oh, you really don't know, do you?"
Yeah, all the stuff he does that's like reprehensible is born out of ignorance, not malice.
Yeah.
Like he's asking all these dumb questions to Adebayo about being a lesbian because he doesn't know anything about being a lesbian. But he's not homophobic and he's not racist, he's not sexist, he's just an idiot. And he's saying all these things that you can't say because he doesn't realize you can't really say these things. He was raised by a Nazi
Yeah.
in the backwoods of some trailer park. Like it's a miracle that he's not a white supremacist.
Yeah, and he says a lot of and like he says quote unquote like edgy things, like the things that you see like edgy fanboys say on the internet or whatever.
Mm.
And
Okay.
it's like, yeah, he got this stuff like it's as if he's saying it not because he believes them, but because he saw them on the internet. And he just doesn't know that you shouldn't say these things.
Like when Vigilante calls the cop an Oriental woman,
And he's like, you
and
can't.
he says Asian, and Vigilante, also an idiot, is like, no, I'm pretty sure she was Oriental. He's like, you can't say Oriental, you have to say Asian, but he doesn't know like, so he knows what things you shouldn't do, but he doesn't know why because he's not smart enough. She's like, what? Why? He's like, nobody knows why. It's just bad. And then what's her name? What's
Uh,
Jennifer Holland's name?
Harcourt.
Or Harcourt is like, hey, idiot, we know why you can't say Oriental because it implies like an otherness. That's why you don't say that. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry, whatever. Like he's just like, can we get back to this?
Speaking of Harcourt, Harcourt is one of my favorite characters alongside Adebayo. So good. Both of them are fantastic.
And they're such opposites
Yeah.
because Harcourt is
A hard ass.
she's very, very mean. And Adebayo is so sweet, but also not above, some scheming and some betrayal. But she has this sweetness to her, and Adebayo is great, and Harcourt is just so rough.
Yeah.
But
Danielle
works out.
Brooks and Jennifer Holland are amazing in these roles. I loved watching them every week. I love that Adebayo's relationship with both Harcourt and with Peacemaker, because she is Peacemaker's, like, she kind of becomes Peacemaker's best friend because she's a lot more patient with him than most people would be. She's just like, hey,
Right.
dude, you can't do that.
Mhm.
But she doesn't like insult him or like talk down to him or anything like that. She's just like, dude, you can't do that. It's
Yeah,
wrong.
she's like, are you seriously?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, that's not how you do that." But also, it's just the ridiculous interactions that they have. Like, I love that this show exists in a ridiculous comic book world,
Yes.
but it's grounded in a way that you have the people like Adebayo who would react to something in a normal way. Like, she
Yeah.
sees Vigilante out of his costume and immediately recognizes him by his voice and the fact that he's still hanging out with Peacemaker.
And when you were talking about how Harcourt and Adebayo are so different, and I think that James Gunn does a really great job of using those differences to create a really good dynamic between the two of them and kind of create a storyline that kind of helps their arc grow just by being in contact with one another. And I really
Mhm.
enjoyed that. Another thing that I think he balances really well is like the drama of it all. You were kind of just saying that too, the drama of it all with the ridiculous elements that we're dealing with. Like the drama is great, but the show is
Yeah.
also mega ridiculous at times. It's like that
Yeah.
quote that you love from Adebayo so much. Like this shit's getting goofy. Like,
I love it because it really does all the time.
She said goofy.
but when it's dramatic, and you're meant to take it seriously. It doesn't matter the setting or what's going on around it. We're being serious right now, and we're having a moment, and you believe those moments, and then you can go off and do something really, really ridiculous, and also believe that as well, and still be like, I can't believe this is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like
It
the
all
cow,
works very well. Oh, the cow. Yeah, it's a ridiculous show,
but it's also
but I enjoy it.
really great.
And it got renewed for season 2, right? Recently?
It did. We're getting a season
Yeah,
2.
I'm about it.
Oh, that's good.
I am definitely down for season 2.
Yeah, DC's first DCEU first in universe TV show is off to a great start.
Oh, wow, I guess it's yeah. Look at that. Look at them doing TV.
Woo. But yeah, that's Peacemaker. I loved it.
As did I. I'll
Okay.
definitely watch season 2. Fun time. Gabby, I think you would enjoy it very much.
The cameos also that came at the end, and there's also a
Yo.
reference at the end too that I absolutely was just like, chef's kiss. Thank you. I love this.
It's funny because you brought up that reference in the chat, and then when I saw what the reference was, I thought, okay, that's such a Peacemaker way to reference these characters.
It is, and I'm just happy that that character like legitimately exists within universe. Like he is already established, which is great in my opinion.
Mhm.
Means I
And
don't have
they'll
to
do
watch
that
an
all the
origin
time.
movie.
Like they'll reference like Kite Man, Matter Eater Lad. Like anyone who's in DC will get a shout out.
I think
And I
Batmite
love it.
got
Kite
referenced at one
Man?
point.
He did. And they said it like it was
I
normal.
love Kite Man.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah, that's our review on Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I'm going to review The Legend of Vox Machina, which is a fantastic show on Amazon Prime. It was created by and stars Laura Bailey, Taliesin Jaffe, Ashley Johnson, Liam O'Brien, Marisha Ray, Sam Riegel, Travis Willingham, and Matthew Mercer. And it also stars Gray Griffin. The only reason I didn't include her in the other ones is because she did not create the show like the others did.
Woo. Yeah.
Mm.
In a desperate attempt to pay off a mounting bar tab, a band of misfits end up on a quest to save the realm of Exandria from dark magical forces. The show is based on the first campaign of Critical Role, a web show where a bunch of nerdy voice actors get together and play Dungeons and Dragons. This show is amazing. It is so good. It's such a good high fantasy show. The characters are so much fun. And like it's even better like having the actors who created these characters, like having them play
Voicing.
these characters.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so good. So before the show started, I knew a bit about Vox Machina because my best friend loves that campaign. She loves Critical Role and she has seen that entire segment of the show. I think she saw campaign 2 as well all the way through. All the information I knew about it was from it's secondhand knowledge that I know from her telling me about it. So I kind of went into the show somewhat blind because I didn't know story points, but I knew who the characters were. So cool. The story is off to a great start, and this first arc is epic with like plenty of cool twists. I love the dialogue because usually when you go into like high fantasy shows, they like there's like a certain way that you talk in high fantasy shows, I guess you could say.
Right.
But in this show, they don't bother doing that at all.
No, they don't. It's
No.
great.
Yeah, and like they talk like us, they curse like us. The only thing is that like they don't like use slang or make modern references.
Yeah. The comedy's magical in the show. It's really good.
Gabby has seen the first 3 episodes.
I've also seen the first 3 episodes.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that you watched the first
Ooh,
3 episodes.
friendship.
I did.
It's it is a wild, wild time, and I love all the characters so much. I feel like this show is not afraid to just do whatever. You can just kind
Yeah,
of
it
go
gets
with
real
it and do it.
violent
Definitely.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets real violent. We have seen people having sex on this show. There's blood on this show. It is a pretty graphic animated show. The animation is amazing. The magic, the fight sequences, the character designs, all of it is so well done. We talk about people creating television shows and creating fantasy worlds like this, but like it always feels very abstract because you're like, yeah, that person created this thing. Like George Lucas created Star Wars. Okay? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's like an
Cool.
abstract idea. But there's something really incredible about seeing a world that was created out of one man's head and played out of the minds of 8 people come to life in this fashion. Because it's not just, here's a show that somebody created. It's like people legitimately around the world were watching these 7 or 8 people sit around a table and play D&D for hours and create this story. And now you're
Hmm.
getting to watch it in motion as an animated series. Which
Right.
is insane to see it create.
Wild.
Yeah, it's insane to see the creative process in that way, and I don't think there's another show out there that is like that. As a D&D player, it's so much fun to see like, the game mechanics aren't in the show, but it's fun to watch it and just, like, you'll see a character fail at something, and it's just like, "Oh, they must have rolled really, really low," or "They must have rolled a 1." Or, like, somebody gets possessed and you're like, "Oh, they must have failed their wisdom save." Like, it's fun doing stuff like that as a D&D player, or, like, somebody can't use magic anymore, you're just like, "Oh, they ran out of spell slots."
Oh, wow.
Or, like, somebody will use a spell, and you'll be like, "Oh, I know that spell. It's like Ray of Frost, or it's like Firebolt, or whatever." It's, like, fun knowing these things as a D&D player. I don't know them as well as my friend who I've been watching it with. Shout out to my friend Emily, she's dope. Watching it with her has been really fun because she knows where the story's going already. She can tell me things, like, maybe that I'm not quite understanding or that I've missed or something. Like, she can give me, like, more context, or she can be like, "Oh, when they did it in game, it kind of went like this." And I think she also likes watching it because, like I said, watching something where you were just watching these people role play around a table and then to see it in motion is very different. And then also to see like the iconic lines to the fandom come to life on a TV show and play out their romances, storylines, story arcs. It's cool. There's a lot of fun Easter eggs for
Mhm.
fans of Critical Role. Yeah, but it's still very much accessible to people who know nothing about this world and know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you don't have to know anything about these things, and it can still be a fantastic show for you to watch because it's still just it plays out like a fantasy show. It's still just a really, really good story that these people happen to create while playing D&D, which is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I highly recommend The Legend of Vox Machina.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
One for Demi and one for Colin. Question for Demi. Greg Griffin is one of the ones you wanna have sex with, right?
I didn't say I wanna have sex with them. I'm just wondering if they're looking for a third. Yeah, Grey Griffin plays
Sure.
Delilah Briarwood,
Right.
and Matthew Mercer plays Silas Briarwood.
Next question is for Colin. I know that you are also a similar type of nerd that Demi is. I'm wondering why you haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen this show because Critical Role has gotten to the point where it's so omnipresent that I find it annoying.
Also, it's one of those things that, like, it's too ubiquitous for you?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very popular in the tabletop
And
RPG
I
world.
also tried watching it, the story that this show is based on. I tried watching it and it just wasn't hitting for me. Like, to
Mm.
be fair, I was not watching this arc, I was watching the arc before this,
Mm,
the very, very first one. But yeah, it just wasn't hitting for me. And with the episodes being like 3, 4, 5 hours, I was like, if this isn't hitting for me, this is
yeah.
too much to commit to.
Although I would say for Colin
Okay.
that it might hit a lot better now for you because these episodes are only like a half hour. They've taken hours and hours and hours of gameplay and like condensed it into something that's, obviously watchable for a television show.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to sit there and watch a 3 to 5 hour episode of a TV series.
I
Critical Role
mean,
is
you say
different.
that, and yet
Well, I don't consider
they're quick
Critical Role
streams.
yeah, but that's a stream though. I don't consider it a TV series in my opinion. I don't know how other people feel about Critical Role, but
I mean, what defines a TV series besides being broadcast on TV? I mean, at that point, a streaming show. I don't. Never mind. This is a rabbit
see,
hole.
that's getting
But
too complicated. But like, yeah, 3 to 5. Most episodes are anywhere between 3 to 5 episodes. I know because I was watching an episode of Critical Role before we even started recording, and I have to actually go back and finish it because I am 2.5 episodes behind, and I want to catch up.
Gabby,
Mhm.
you get a question too, because why not?
Okay.
It feels like you like this show. What's taking you so
I
long to
do.
watch it?
I'm watching it with my partner, and we haven't gotten around to watching it.
Got it. The schedule lineup.
Yeah, because
I know
like
that's
the
struggle.
shows that I watch, I just like I was watching Abbott Elementary, and I've watched like 8 episodes of it. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Oh, good. You caught up.
I've been watching Legends of Vox Machina with, as I said, my friend Emily. And like last night, she was like, "Well, maybe we can do one episode." And I was like, "Well, I kind of got to get it done before tomorrow so that I can review it." And she was like, "Okay, fine, we'll go through all of them. We'll finish it off." And I was like, "Dope, thank you so much." But also for anybody who is, a big voice acting fan or whatever, like I know Dallas is. Before we finish this off real quick, it also features voice work done by Stephanie Beatrice, Kari Payton, Esme Creed Miles. We already mentioned Grey Griffin; she's a big part of the show. Gina Torres, Indira Varma, Rory McCann, Anjali Bhimani, Sunil Malhotra, Dominic Monaghan, Eugene Bird, Tony Hale. Logic plays a character on the show.
Oh,
David
he
Tennant.
does.
He does. David Tennant's on the show. Felicia Day, Tracy Toms, Cree Summers is on the show. Stephen Root. There's a lot of fantastic voice actors on the show.
Dope.
Mhm.
Also, fun fact for you, Gabby.
Mhm.
So the man who plays Grog and the woman who plays Vex, they're married in real life. And the man who plays Silas and the woman who plays Keyleth are married in real life.
Keyleth.
Keyleth is the druid. She's the
Oh, okay.
soft druid.
Okay, and Silas is the
Bad guy.
Oh, ooh. Okay.
But that's because Matthew Mercer does so many voices anyway, because he's the DM of the game. But he wanted to play
Yeah.
Silas. So
Okay. Oh, I love Keyleth. She's a cutie patootie.
she is. Characters are great.
I'm shipping her and
Vax.
Vax. Yes.
Yes. And then when you get to Vex and Percy, so good. By the way, those are two different people. It is Vex and Vax.
Yeah, I know. And Vax. They're siblings.
And they're
related.
disconnected from Vox.
Yes.
Machina.
Yeah.
Yes. Vexalia and Vaxeldan. Oh, we should move on to the next thing.
Yes. What you doing? What you watching? I'm going to go first because I have two things. I'm going to make them very fast because there's a theme. First thing is, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Hey,
I've been
let's
watching
go.
Bel-Air.
Hey.
And oh boy, it's so good.
It's amazing.
Let's run down who's doing what.
We're definitely
Created
doing
by-
a review for this show, so we don't need to go too
Yeah,
far. But
when it
yeah.
finishes, we're gonna do this again. But I just want to
You
talk
got it.
about where we're at right now. Created by Andy Borowitz and Susan Borowitz, who made The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the TV show. And it was developed by Morgan Cooper, Malcolm Spellman, TJ Brady, and Rashid Newson. I don't know who TJ and Rashid are, but yes.
Morgan Cooper was the guy who did the 2019 concept trailer.
Yeah, the one that inspired all of this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he got his developed by and EP credits on this. And Malcolm Spellman made Falcon and the Winter Soldier and is going to direct the next Captain America?
I think he's writing the next Captain
write it.
America. I don't know if he's
Okay.
directing it. Also, Morgan Cooper also not only developed the show and is not only a writer on the show, but he directed the first episode.
Oh, dope. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's so, man, he's good. That's a really good episode. Yes, stars a whole bunch of dope people. Jabari Banks, Cassandra Freeman, Jimmy Akingbola, Ali Sholatan, Coco Jones, Akira Akbar, Simone Joy Jones, Jordan L. Jones, and Adrian Holmes. All right, IMDb summary: the journey of a street smart teen whose life is forever transformed, or turned upside down, when he moves from the streets of West
it.
Philadelphia to live with his auntie and uncle in Bel-Air. It's so dope.
This is like one of the best reimaginings I've ever seen of anything.
And they did it so well. And I think the fact that the original show is so silly and such a network TV sitcom,
It's a sitcom.
and this is such a streaming drama from 2022, it makes it kind of immune to that trap that a lot of remakes and stuff fall into, where they'll just do what was done before, but update it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, this is not that. This is, we're telling the same story, but we're telling it completely differently. So the characters have more depth. There's more drama in the story. A lot of the first episode is just the intro sequence from the original show, because that's a pretty big deal. You got in a fight and you had to move across the country because your mom was afraid for your life. Like, that's not really just a few bars in a song.
I really appreciate the fact that it is so different, because you can see how different it is, but you can still feel the skeleton of the OG storyline underneath it. And I like the fact that
Okay.
they've taken storylines from the original show and they've incorporated it in a more long-term fashion. So
Yes.
I'm gonna slightly spoil something that's been a big deal among people who have been watching it. Carlton is on drugs. Of course he is. There's a whole episode where he, like, ODs. Like, yeah, it makes sense that that's the storyline that they would choose to make a more long-term thing.
Right.
Hillary has more of a personality. She's not just some bimbo. She actually has ambition. Comes off as pretty intelligent. She can cook, and I think that's really
Mhm.
cool. She's a social media influencer, but she still has that Hillary-ness about her that still works.
Yeah, she's still the rich girl. Like, she's what Hillary would be today.
Yes.
Of course, she's a social media influencer. Of course, she has a bunch of followers that she calls her Hillaristas. Like, that's a perfect update for that character.
Jabari Banks has the hardest job, obviously, having to fill the shoes of Will Smith, and
Mhm.
he does a fantastic job. I think he's got that charm, and I think it helps that he doesn't have to have the comedic chops that Will Smith had to have, because this isn't a sitcom. He just has to pull off the drama, and he does it really well while still having the charm.
Yeah, he has to have he has a lot of charisma. He's a very charming kid, and he's still very funny. Like, it's not live in front of a studio audience type of funny. It's a different kind of funny, but he's a funny kid. He's charming. We want him to succeed, but also he has a hothead side that we didn't really get to see in the original show because there weren't many reasons for that in the original show.
Yeah,
But yeah, of course, he got into that fight.
also, all the references for people who know Fresh Prince as well as me and you do, for instance.
Yeah.
Like the Banks having a pool table in their house, I was just like, "Yo, break out Lucille, let's go." Or like, the orange juice in the champagne glass when he's on the flight,
Yo, that
the fuzzy
that one is so
dice.
subtle. Of course, yeah, the fuzzy dice. That's like a big one because the fuzzy dice in the mirror. I was like, okay, we need that. But like the orange juice in the champagne glass is such a deep cut
That's like the first
because
few episodes. You only know that if you know the theme song for those first few episodes of the show.
right, they cut the theme song short. So if you don't know the lyrics to the song and don't know that it's just those first few, you don't know that that's a line in the song when he's describing how he's on the plane. And following that, when Will is in Jazz's car with the fuzzy dice, he's talking to his mom and he's like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't see the ride that you guys sent for me." In the original version of the song, that's not even on any of the episodes. He has
Yep.
a line where he basically just talks about they sent a guy with his name to the airport and Will said he looked like a cop. I ain't trying to get arrested yet. I just got here. So he dips and runs off. So this is like a reference to that, which you would only possibly know if you're a Will Smith fan
The
of
whole
my level.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of deep cut references for the people who like loved the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air without it being
Yeah.
super distracting as well, which is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a really good job with this one. There's a lot of detail, a lot of attention to detail. My favorite thing, though, I knew this was going to be good when the episode started with that like underwater thing and the lights and all that stuff and him on the throne. I don't know J. Cole's music like that, but I know that song. And so when it reached him going first things first, and it just
Mm-hmm.
cuts to Will in bed, but everybody in the world hears that and they finish the line in their head, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. Like to start it
Mm-hmm.
off with such respect to the original show, like it's just like, oh my
It's so
gosh, we're
dope.
starting strong.
Yeah, I could tell. I was like, oh, this is gonna be dope. And the way they use music is so
So good.
good. Like from Philly to LA, because the first episode there's a lot of Philadelphia in it. Like Freeway, Meek Mill, Mac Miller, who's from Pittsburgh, not Philly, but still is in the area. They use a lot of their songs. And Freeway is a rapper from Philly, and he actually plays Will's basketball coach in the first episode
Oh, nice.
at his Philly school, which is really dope. And it's funny because his song is playing in the scene right before the basketball scene. But in addition to No Role Models, the Jermaine Cole song that I love, the way that they
Jermaine.
use
Sorry. Go ahead.
Jermaine Cole, the way that they use dreams and nightmares, which I also love that the first episode is called Dreams and Nightmares because that's such a big deal. Like that song is such a big deal, especially in Philly because Meek Mill is like their boy, and that's like that's his song that like everybody knows. And the way that the basketball team is using it as like a hype song, and then after they sing it, this transitions to the song playing in the next scene. I'm like, oh, this music. They did it so good.
They use music really well.
I love it. I love everything about the show so far, except for Carlton. But I understand that
Even I love Carlton.
need
Like
that.
I love Carlton in a
he's
love.
the worst.
I love him in a love to hate sort of fashion right now. Like I'm
Okay.
like, oh, you're so well written, and like
Yeah.
I love that.
man, he is the worst.
He's a hater.
He's such an Aaron Burr. And Jordan brought that up to me when we were watching the show. Like, he has a line where he says, "You trample every rule that you don't like, but somehow you end up the winner." And yo, if that's not an Aaron Burr line, I don't know what is. Like,
Aaron
this
Burr
nigga's
said
such
the
a hater.
same thing in a different fashion.
Exactly. Like, yo, this dude is such a hater. But I really hope that we get to a point where, you know, they're basically brothers like they were at the end of the last
He's
show.
going to get that redemption arc.
I can tell, because even the way the most recent episode, and we're 4 episodes in now, even the way that one ended with them, it's like, all right, we're making a little bit of progress.
We've gone on quite a while about this show.
Yes,
but I do
there will
wanna
be more
say-
at the end of the season.
I do want to say, though, that I am excited to see what they're doing with Ashley's storyline after episode 4. People going to be mad, but I'm excited.
Yo, there's, I can't wait till the season ends. There's so much I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't realize that the show got picked up for 2 seasons, and
It did.
like off the bat.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy, because there's so many storylines I want to see that one season might not be enough for.
We'll talk more about this in a few weeks when the show is finally over.
Yes. Also, shout out to Lisa, because she's fine and she's thick, and I love it.
Dallas has a second one.
Yes, the theme is
Which I-
Philadelphia, because my second one is Abbott Elementary.
Yo, let's talk about it.
Yeah, because Abbott Elementary was what I was going to choose to talk about this week anyway. So
Perfect.
Oh,
Yes,
3
overlap.
of us.
I love to see it. Yeah, created by Quinta Brunson, starring Quinta, Tyler James Williams, Janelle James, Lisa Ann Walter, Chris Perfetti, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, who I did not recognize as Dee from
It's
Moesha.
Chessie. Oh.
What
wait,
did you
who
say?
Am I thinking
no,
of?
you're thinking of
It's Chessie-
Chesty from The Parent Trap. You're
No,
thinking of
that's
the
Lisa Ann
Italian
Walter.
teacher. Yeah, Lisa
Right.
Ann Walter.
Okay.
Shirley
the
Ralph
mafia
is
teacher.
I love her. But Shirley Ralph is Moesha's stepmom.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that until Jordan was over here watching it.
Also,
was
the
like, "Oh, that's
mean
Dee."
mom in Sister Act 2.
I didn't know she was in that.
I love Sister Act
Oh,
2.
what?
But yes, the
I
very
love
simple
Sister Act 2 too.
IMDb summary says, follows a group of teachers brought together in one of the worst public schools in the country simply because they love teaching.
Oh,
right.
But also
basic.
it's fantastic.
The show is
It's like
hilarious.
Parks and Rec. But
It
like
is.
teachers.
It's a lot like Parks and Rec. I was going to say, I recommend this show. If you watch Parks and Rec and you like that but wish it was blacker, then boom, Abbott Elementary is your show.
I've never seen Parks and Rec, and I've never seen The Office, which are 2 shows that this show gets compared to a lot because it's a mockumentary.
Yeah.
But this show, I love this show. Every week, I'm just so happy to see that it's out. It's so funny. I love Quinta. Quinta's just hilarious, even outside of the show. So I was super hyped to see that she had a TV show coming out. All these teachers, I love them. And I like that the problems feel like, as students who came up out of the public school system, it feels relatable. Like, I'm like, I've never been a teacher, but I do remember having these, these being school issues while going to school.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had teachers that really cared about us. We got
Yeah.
lucky. We had really great teachers. Shout out to all our teachers.
But it's also just hella funny.
All the good ones.
Yeah.
So the main reason I watched this show is because Tyler James Williams is in it. And I adored Everybody Hates Chris growing up.
Great
like-
show.
I like him in everything he's in. He's great. And I saw him in the trailer and I thought, oh, okay, what is this? And then one of the jokes in the trailer, which is one of the first jokes in the show, is when she's looking at her, I think she's like a 1st grade teacher or a 2nd grade teacher. She's looking at their papers and one of them says, my favorite movie is American Gangster. My favorite character is Frank Lucas. And she says, I'll be having a 3rd talk with your parents about what you're watching at home.
That was hilarious.
Oh, you know what?
That's
One of the
great.
things that I didn't mention about Bel-Air that I enjoy, which is also kind of in this show as well, is the usage of Philly slang.
Yeah. It's
Love
so
it.
heavy in Bel-Air. It's crazy.
He's from Philly, so he should be saying it. But also in
Yeah.
Abbott Elementary, that one episode where she's teaching him like how to spell bull and Jean.
Mhm. I love that.
I love that episode. She's like, cheesesteaks.
Yeah, this is why I group these 2 shows together in my What You're Watching, because like, yeah, it's Philly time.
Yeah.
But
in schools.
I also
I know.
yes, I mean there are schools in both shows. That's a fair comparison, I guess.
One more
I
than
also
the other.
love that they got Zach Fox to play Janine's boyfriend, because
So
I've
funny.
never seen him on TV before. Like, as far
I
as I
don't
know,
know
he's
who
like
this
that funny
man
guy.
is, but he's
So
hilarious.
He
He
is
looks familiar.
he is a rapper comedian person who got really, really like he blew up on Twitter, but he's very, very funny. He's very, very silly.
In this most recent episode, he's absolutely hysterical.
Is that the one where he performed? At the
Yes.
assembly? Yo, the anti-drug song.
You got to watch that episode, Gabby. It's so funny.
Not there yet. I fell
So
asleep
good.
while I was watching it.
It's also got one of the most romantic scenes I've seen on television recently. So
I'm trying to think.
Okay.
the rain scene where he brings out the
Okay.
umbrella. Oh,
Got you,
that's
got you, got you.
that was good.
Yo, there's like Gregory's
It's
character is
so
so
good.
dope because he's hilarious as the straight man. Like he's the new guy and he's dealing with all these ridiculous people. But also he has some depth, like his relationship with his dad that they mention, but then they actually go into later. And like one of the
Orlando
things that
Jones,
his
what's up?
I was like, oh my god, it's Orlando Jones. And one of the things that his dad says to him, which isn't really played for laughs, but to me it's so dismissive, but it made me laugh. It's so funny because he doesn't see being a teacher at this level as basically like a legitimate job. So he's like, when are you gonna come work for me, get a real job? And he says, because he said, who else can teach a first grader, a second grader? I was like, that's such a
Oh,
dismissive thing to say, but it's so funny.
that's so mean.
I gotta talk about Ava real quick because Ava is
Oh
so
god,
funny. Just
she's so
a
ridiculous.
scene stealer. When they were the scene where she falls out her chair from this most recent episode, bruh.
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes
She's
I'll
the
watch this
worst, but
show.
also in a great
She's
way.
the worst.
I'll be watching
She's
this
like
show
John Ralphio.
screaming, bro. It's so funny.
She
So
needs to be
funny.
fired.
She does.
But it's
I
so
love
funny.
how what's his name? Greg was supposed to be the principal. He's like, and then it fell through. And she's like, I caught the superintendent.
Right, like, yo, she's such a scumbag.
But
She's
it's so
horrible.
funny.
And she's a
It's
bully. Like,
so
she's so mean to Janine for no reason.
She is.
You know what? No, I think she has a reason. I think she's still holding a grudge against her from what happened in episode 1 where she went over her head to the school board.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it.
Maybe, because it did seem like,
And Ava's
following
the
that.
type to hold a grudge.
Oh, yeah. Mad petty. Petty
Mad
principal.
petty. That show is so
Mhm.
funny. If you're not watching Abbott Elementary, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't
Get
even watch
on it.
a lot of comedy shows. It's not something that I usually do. But Abbott Elementary is like something I gotta catch every week because it's so funny.
Also
It's so
love
good.
Melissa, the
The
Italian
Italian
mobster
one?
lady.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. She's my favorite character.
Love
Probably
her.
after
She's-
Janine
She's so
and the
great.
janitor.
And like, she's a nice lady. She cares about the kids and everything like that. But if she got to make you disappear, she'll probably make you disappear.
She knows some
Yeah.
people.
I love how they're like, she's resourceful. She's like, I know a guy, got a guy for everything.
Mhm.
And she's like, I got a guy that's working out at the Eagle Stadium right now, and then they needed rugs. And I love that the rugs had eagles on them.
She's so
So
she's so
good.
great. One of my favorite interactions is between her and Janine because Janine is very silly, and it's one of the episodes where she's like feeling herself. And they're from Philadelphia,
I love that episode.
and there's a famous game between the Lakers and Sixers when Allen Iverson scored on Tyronn Lue and stepped over him, and it was like, oh, he stepped over. Janine said, "I'm like Allen Iverson, and you're like that guy he stepped over one time." And Melissa says, "You mean 3-time NBA champion Tyronn Lue?" It's because I know exactly who she's talking about, and yeah, that guy's been a champion multiple times. But Janine doesn't know that. She's just trying to stun on Melissa.
That show is so good. And all the episodes are on
Oh.
Hulu the day after the show airs on ABC.
Mhm.
So if you can't catch it live on ABC, you can always go check it out on Hulu.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Did Gabby have a thing?
I thought Gabby's
did.
thing was Abbott Elementary. Oh,
That was your thing
No.
and my thing.
what's your
Yeah.
thing, Gabby?
My thing is Dollface. I'll talk about it really fast. Dollface season 2 came out on the 11th of February, and I binged it, and it was fantastic. Dollface is created by Jordan Weiss, and it stars Kat Dennings, Brenda Song, Shay Mitchell, and Esther Pavinsky. It is produced by Margot Robbie, actually.
Yes, it
so
is.
She's
By
in
her
season
production
1
company.
and fantastic. And oh my God, it's great. So the series follows a young woman who, after being dumped by her longtime boyfriend, must deal with her own imagination in order to literally and metaphorically re-enter the world of women and rekindle the female friendships she left behind. Season 2 is less about female friendships and much more about her getting out of her shell post-pandemic. And it's really good. My favorite part about the show is that it's really surreal. It has moments where, the main character sort of deals with this sort of whimsical side of herself to kind of get over things.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is the one with the Yiffy bus driver?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's the one with the cat lady.
Got it. Right on brand.
Yeah. Hey. So to use a reference from season 1. So in season 1, her friends are telling her like, oh, you need to just find a hookup. Like you just need a hookup. And so she basically imagines herself going into like a car dealership, and she starts talking to this guy, and he's like a model. And she starts talking to him, and then the guy that's like trying to sell her the cars, aka the guys, is like, "What are you looking for?" She's like, "I'm more looking for like a hookup deal." And he's like, "Oh, no, this is boyfriend material. Come with me." And then they go into like a used car lot. And like all the guys are great except like one thing is wrong with them.
Mm.
And it's delightful. I absolutely recommend Dollface. And it's super funny and quirky and just a lot of fun. Please watch it so I have someone to talk to about it because no one else that I know watches the show.
Yeah.
And it's so great. It's such an easy watch and it's so funny. And once per season, they do this weird like fairy tale episode. Like season 1, it was Wizard of Oz, and season 2, it's Snow White. Anyway, that's Dollface.
All right.
All right,
I'm guessing
news.
Colin has nothing, so it's time for the news.
Yep.
Trailer
All
tracking.
right, trailers. We got trailers. Doctor Strange put out a trailer while we were recording our last episode.
Yeah, so we didn't have time to talk about it. But yeah, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yo, this movie is about to be fire.
It looks so good.
It looks
and
wild.
insane. It looks
I
so
feel
crazy.
like this movie looks like what I wanted the first movie to be.
I was thinking the same thing when I was watching the trailer.
It's super trippy. You don't know what's going on. And that's kind of how I feel like you should feel watching a Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, the first movie, I was like, this is kind of trippy, but not as trippy as I wanted it to be. This trailer looks as trippy as I always wanted it to be.
We got Ultron bots. We got
The Illuminati.
dinosaurs, probably in the Savage Land.
Illuminati.
No,
Do we
we're
want to talk-
serious. The Illuminati are in this movie.
What?
Oh,
The
great.
Illuminati's a thing in Marvel. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a group
I
in Marvel
did
called
not
the Illuminati.
recognize that.
Also, speaking of the Illuminati, Charles Xavier?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we want to talk about the voice? I guess we want to talk about the
That's
voice.
Weird to put in the trailer.
I wouldn't have.
See, here's the
But
thing.
I guess
If they put that in the trailer, that means that there's crazier stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
See, I just wonder, is that going to matter? Or is it like Doctor Strange goes to a place, sees a bunch of people, and then we never hear from them again?
Oh,
Like-
that's definitely what's happening.
See, and that's the thing, right? Is that like I want this multiversal stuff to matter, and I
matter.
wonder how much of it will.
Well, so far it really does because the multiversal stuff started with what if. There's so much what if stuff in this trailer alone that it's ridiculous. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch is playing 4 different versions of Strange in this.
he's doing it. I feel like what Colin might be getting at, and what I kind of feel like is if you don't expand this like main continuity with that stuff, it doesn't matter that much that you've shown it to us. Because if you're just going to keep coming back to this version, like this continuity, then we can see all the what if stuff we want. It doesn't really affect all these 4 phases that you've been putting up. If you just bring them in like one and done, like, oh, okay, cool, we got Evil Strange. Okay, cool, we got this thing here. Like, are they going to tie into the big story or not?
I feel like it's one of those things
Yeah,
where it's
that's
like,
kind
here's a
of
cool
my
thing that we
question.
can do. Is that here's how the multiverse works, and we're showing you how it works. The X-Men movies now probably become canon in and of themselves because of their own multiversal universe existing by Professor X being in this movie. Here's the thing, you've got America Chavez in this movie. America Chavez has portals to different universes. That's what she does. That's what she can do. So in the future, yeah, you can use America Chavez to do stuff like that. How much is that going to impact the universe, the main continuity that we're currently in? I don't know. It's hard to say. Kang the Conqueror is here. We have a whole TV show called Loki, which is about keeping track of time streams. We have a multiple number of things that are including the multiverse in them. So, like, how
Yeah.
much do you want it to impact the main universe, and how are they going to do it? None of us know right now. And there's no way to tell.
I think mainly what it is for me is if they're willing to acknowledge the past things that, like the X-Men movies, I want that to actually matter and not just be like okay, you can consider it canon now, we're willing to admit it exists.
Well, I mean, they just did that with the Spider-Man movies. So, what's your feeling on that?
That is kind of what I wanted and also kind of not, because it also wraps everything up really neatly. So it's like we deal with it for this movie. That's my thing. Is are we going to deal with stuff for this movie and then not deal with it again? Which I feel like is what No Way Home did. It's like, we'll acknowledge it, we'll bring it in this movie, and then we're probably never going to see these people again. And it's like, I guess if to me, I want multiverse to be more than just like a cameo vehicle. And I feel like so far for me, because I also haven't seen What If, I haven't seen some of the other stuff. That's what it feels like.
I mean, that's what it is. I promise you that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I feel you, Colin. I also like it to be more significant than, look at this thing we did that one time. But I would like to see them. So, cool. Also, to clarify, we don't see Charles Xavier, but that's definitely his voice. Like,
and there's a
We
bald
don't see
head.
his face. Yeah, like we see a bald
Mhm.
dude who
Or
is
it's
Yep.
clearly
just, you
Patrick
know,
Stewart.
I feel like it's
Patrick
him.
Stewart, but like, who's he gonna be playing if not?
Come on.
He's
He's not
what's
playing
his name?
Picard.
Picard? Yeah.
I want him to be like Logan Xavier.
Oh
Just
God.
like
He
he
can't
has
be.
no idea what's going on, but he's in this really important position, it seems like, and he's just vibing.
Maybe he's
just vibing.
was he Duncan Idaho in Dune, or was he somebody else?
He
Was
was
he?
Gurney
I think
Halleck,
he was
I
Gurney.
Is he
think.
Gurney?
Yeah.
Maybe he's Gurney.
I think Gurney had hair.
Well, not anymore. Been a
Not
while.
anymore.
I do want to mention one of the bigger parts of this trailer, which was Scarlet Witch clearly being all villainous, which I
Mm.
love personally.
Love
Although,
that for her.
again, it's the multiverse. So what if it's not our Wanda being evil? What if it's a
I don't
different
think
Wanda?
it's our Wanda.
The thing is, I
think it's a
want it
different
to be
Wanda.
this Wanda because
would
it would
love
just
it.
make sense to me.
Yeah, I would
Like,
love it if
that
it was
was
this Wanda.
to me the point
Yeah.
of a lot of
WandaVision?
WandaVision was like when she wants something and when she feels strongly about something, she doesn't really care who has to suffer as long as the people that she loves are fine. So it's like
Yep.
I could
That's
absolutely
villain.
see like that line in the trailer where she's like, you know, you break the rules and you're a hero, I break the rules and I'm a villain. Like, yes, exactly.
That doesn't
Yes,
seem
I want
fair.
more of that.
I hate that line.
I love it so much
It's
because
so
because here's the
shut
thing.
up, Wanda.
Because Wanda acknowledges that what she did was wrong. She acknowledges that at the end of WandaVision, that what she did was wrong. She apologizes to those people. They don't have to accept her apology. I wouldn't. But she does
No.
apologize to them because she does acknowledge the fact that she did something wrong. I like the line because she's going, listen, man, if I'm doing something wrong and getting punished for it, if you do something wrong, you should also be punished for it.
I don't like it because it's like you're acting like these things are comparable and they're not. Like you put an entire community in the sunken place and took away their free will.
He put
And
the
then you
entire
basically
universe at risk.
at risk. They all do that. She took the free will of entire community and then she lobotomized Agatha, if we're being honest.
She did,
And
yeah.
this isn't stuff that he does. Like
Yeah, it is.
To
he's
be
a sorcerer.
fair,
That's not what he did.
he opened the multiverse accidentally. That was not what he was trying to do. That was because Peter messed it up.
Right.
And then he had to clean it up, which, you know, he was trying to do the most efficient method of cleaning it up.
He
And
did.
Peter was like, no, I can do it. I'm Peter. So it's like,
Peter.
I totally see what Dallas is saying in terms of Wanda brainwashed an entire town.
She did.
And
On accident.
yes, but
At first
it's
on
like,
accident.
well, I get what Dallas is saying because it's like the things that they did don't feel comparable right now. Maybe that line comes later in the movie and he's done some shit that it's like, okay, really shouldn't have done that. But as of right now, yeah, I feel like the scales aren't even.
I mean, according to Mordo, they're both breaking the same rules, so I'm sure that Mordo would kill both of them
That nigga was
regardless.
crippling people in the last movie, talking about, oh, you use magic to walk. Nah, dog.
Nah,
Take him
dog.
out. Like that nigga's evil.
I love a good villain.
Dude
I
just-
love a good villain.
That man just wanted to walk.
We should move on to the next trailer, though. This will be exciting, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
100%.
Chip and Dale.
Yeah, Chip and Dale.
Chip and Dale. It looks adorable and it looks hilarious. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really watch Chip and Dale growing up.
I did.
Oh, I did. I loved it.
Yeah.
Chip
But
was
I
my
didn't
favorite.
expect them to be going like meta with it. Like, oh, 30 years later, they're doing this.
Yeah, no, I did not expect that either.
And I think John Mulaney and Andy Samberg will have a good time with that and do it well. Also, it's
Oh, yeah.
either written or directed by Akiva from Lonely Island. And I like him too.
He's great.
But yeah, it looks funny. It looks silly. I am about it. I know there's going to be a bunch of fan servicey cameos and references, and I'm always here for that. So give it to me.
Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting this to be the direction they go with this movie, but should be fun.
Yeah. No.
Quick question.
Mhm.
So the song that plays in the trailer, like,
Best friend?
yeah,
Mhm.
obviously they're not going to include the word bitch. Are they also not including the word nigga? I don't know the song.
Was that your nigga question?
Yes, that was my nigga question.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
No.
the song would have to be in the movie. We don't know that it's in the movie. It's just in the trailer.
Like, oh, that's my best friend. She a bad bitch. She don't need no nigga. Like, is that where that's going? And then they just, like, I don't know. Just
What is your
I'm
question
curious.
exactly? Are you asking if the word nigga is going to be in the movie? Or
if the word nigga is in that line that is used in the trailer.
are you asking? I don't
No,
know. I don't know
it's-
the song that well.
It's not. I don't think so.
Okay.
But don't quote me.
We
All right,
need
this movie looks
we
like
need
a
some
lot of fun.
experts for that.
It'll be on Disney Plus sometime this year, right?
May
Uh,
22nd?
May?
May 20th. Yeah. I'm with it. Also, the cast looks amazing.
The cast is dope.
Sandberg, Mulaney, Will Arnett, Eric Bana, Keegan-Michael Key,
Oh,
Seth
yeah.
Rogen, J.K. Simmons, and Kiki Lane. I'm about it.
Yeah.
Kiki Lane was the one that got me. I was like, ooh, Kiki.
It is
Yeah.
very much your brand. Kiki Lane is a Odegaard, right?
Yeah, I want to see her thrive. She was in
Yes.
Coming to America as well. Coming to America.
She was. I loved
Right.
her.
Right. We are moving on to something that I have no thoughts on, so I'll pass it to you guys.
Lord of the Rings. They released a teaser for Super Bowl. Tells us
Yo.
nothing about the story. It's all
Girl.
visuals.
Nothing.
I am
Aesthetic.
already
excited.
so tired.
Of what?
No,
The
really?
fandom is. They
Oh,
have
oh my
so
gosh, they're
many
so
thoughts.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not. I
what?
can't tell them they're wrong because this is one of the most built up and detailed worlds ever written. And so when you get things wrong, people are going to have complaints. And I'm just so glad I'm not part of that. And I can just watch this show and be like, you know what? I like it or I don't like it based on whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the complaints that I've been seeing are very much on the racist side. So
Oh, see, I
Oh,
haven't been seeing that. I've been
time
seeing
to
like
ignore.
I know Tolkien lore, and based on Tolkien lore, this character shouldn't be like this, and this character shouldn't be like this, and why doesn't the dwarf have a beard? And
I haven't seen a
Oh.
lot of those. I've seen a lot of racist stuff though, for sure. Like there
Ooh,
shouldn't
don't
be any
Well-
black people here.
Yeah, I expected the racism to come up, but
Yeah, I
we
think
live
we
in not
run
1950,
in
guys.
different circles when it comes to
It's not
criticism.
that I'm running in those circles, it's that I'm watching YouTube videos reacting to those trailers and just looking at the comments of people or like looking at Facebook
Okay.
comments or stuff like that. And
Colin.
it's just like, what?
Colin,
What's up?
where do you think Demi hangs out on the internet?
I don't know, but whenever
think-
this comes up, it feels like Demi has all the racist commentary that she's seen, and I just have seen like I
just
know it
go
exists.
looking
I've seen
for
it
general
referenced, but I
population
haven't seen it.
comments.
Colin, you act like she
see.
was in.
What?
You act like she was in that Doja Cat chat room showing feet.
Why do you do this, Dallas?
Stop it.
Because it's
Stop
right
it.
there. I have to take the shot.
But I think it looks really good visually. I like that.
Oh, they put some money into this.
Oh, there's so much money, and this is like the most expensive TV show ever made. I think. Like I think it broke the record.
Yeah,
or
I keep
something.
hearing that.
But I like that it looks pretty practical. Like there's enough practical stuff that reminds you of Lord of the Rings, but also like enough CGI stuff, obviously, because you got to use some of it because, it's a TV show. I mean, it's a very expensive TV show, but you probably can't do what you did with the OG Lord of the Rings movies. So it looks
Mhm.
somewhere in between the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I feel like I don't care how this show looks. What matters to me is it going to be like, because the trilogy of movies, the Lord of the Rings movies specifically, every time anyone talks about those, a lot of what I hear is the amount of effort and care that went into them, and that's what I'm
Absolutely.
curious to see. Is that
Yeah.
reflected in this show, or is this like we can capitalize on Lord of the Rings, so we'll just make whatever? And that remains to be seen.
Mm.
Yeah, because we still have no idea what the story is about. Me and you made the assumption a couple weeks ago that it would be about the creation of the 20 rings of power.
And I
Mm.
honestly am basing that totally on the title.
Yes.
Like I don't know.
It looks like a grand
Also,
adventure is on the way, though.
we didn't see Sauron, and I
Yeah.
want to because apparently he's supposed to be really hot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's supposed to be like really hot and charming, which is part of the reason people took the rings in the first place.
Yeah, it's like the devil
that
in the
makes sense.
Bible, The devil is super
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
attractive, but he's also the devil.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the story is actually going to be about. This is a teaser trailer, and as teaser trailers usually do, they just give you kind of the aesthetic, the vibe of what the show is going to look like, what it's going to be like. And it looks like it's a grand, epic adventure, which is what you want out of Lord of the Rings. What remains to be seen
Yeah.
is what is the story about and how is the story going to play out, which you would have to wait until
Yeah.
September to find out when the show comes out. But I'm excited. I'm
Uh,
optimistic.
Yeah,
I am too. It
I'm
looks like
invested.
stunning. I'm just like afraid, but yeah.
I mean, I was thinking, ooh, do I want to read like the Silmarillion? And then I thought, no, I don't. Because if I read the source material and then I watched it, it's gonna be like, well, they didn't do that right. And I just like, no. I want to go into
You're
this
just
and
like,
take it
I
for
just
what
want
it
to vibe.
is.
Yeah.
Yes, I just want to vibe. And I'm hoping that this show hits the way like I'm hoping it can.
Okay.
I might even have another extended Lord of the Rings marathon before the show starts. Who knows?
Oh, I need to do that.
Ooh, me too.
We should do it together.
All right, let's move through these next two news pieces. I don't have much to say on either of them. Colin,
Me.
they're making a Bioshock
Hello.
TV series.
I'm so
Ooh.
excited. They also said they're trying to make it like a cinematic universe, which is one of those things that like I don't usually like cinematic universes. I've come to that conclusion.
That's fair.
I'm okay with it if BioShock does it, except that also means that they might adapt the third game, which is the game I don't like for a lot of the racism in that game is it's there for a reason. Like it's not that the game is racist. It's like the game has a lot of racism in it to make a point, and I just think it's heavy-handed in the way that it does it. But that being said, this is so exciting. There have been attempts at this before. Gore Verbinski was supposed to direct a BioShock movie a long time ago, and it just never happened.
But how do you condense it to like a movie? That's the
Oh,
thing.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
see,
They're
that's
making a
like,
movie, not a TV show. I messed that up. A
They're making a
movie
movie.
coming to Netflix.
okay, never
see,
mind.
that's
To
mm.
Netflix? Do you think they'll do it like okay, so this is how I feel like they should do video game movies is low key make them the way that they did the Kimmy Schmidt and that Black Mirror thing where you kind of get a
Oh, the
choice.
interactive movie thing?
I
Yeah,
don't.
I feel like
To
that would be
me,
interesting.
see, that could work extremely well with what Bioshock is. At least the first one,
Yeah.
not
I
so
feel
much
like
the
yeah,
second one and the third.
from
But
from what I know about BioShock, I feel like that would work for a movie for it.
it would. But Dallas, do you have a question? Is that what that is?
Yes, I have. I also have a nigga related question.
Okay, what's up?
So you said the third one has a lot of racism in it.
Racism. Yes, it does.
Do you think Tarantino would be a good choice to direct the third Bioshock?
Stop
movie?
it.
Well, see, okay. Ooh, okay. So for context, when I mean there's a lot of racism, one of the very first things you do in that game that kind of turned me off from it is you see this like stage and there's a mixed race couple on it and you are given the opportunity to throw something at them.
Whoa,
Yeah, that was part of the reason I don't like that game.
fair.
That's a lot.
But I think
That's too
Tarantino could
much.
probably do it. That said, I don't want him to.
Fair.
But like I'm sort of torn because this is one of those times where you could adapt the first game into a movie and I think it would work fine. That being said, this is one like I always have that sort of thing where it's like I think that video games are the better medium and you should leave them alone. And this I think is one where I really feel that strongly because so much of why the twist in the story of the first one works so well, I think, is not just because of what it is, but because of the fact that you are playing a game. The twist is still going to hit if they adapt the first movie, the first game. That twist is still going to hit. It's great. Everybody loves it. I think that's what Gabby meant when she was talking about like it blowing people's minds. You never did clarify that, but anyway,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. Is
cool.
the
Yeah,
twist,
I mean
'cause
that
I know about the
when that came
twist.
out, it was huge. Like I don't want them to adapt the games just because I think that's the easy way to do it. There's other stuff you could do. You could do the founding of the city. You could do the war that sort of brought Rapture down to its the level that you find it in the first game. Like there's a lot you could do, and I'm super excited to see what they do with it. I'm just wondering like because the tweet that announced it from I think discussing film had a picture from the second game and I don't know if that was intentional. I doubt it was because it'd be kind of weird to
Mm.
start with the second one because the second one is really like it follows on the heels of the first and you kind of it is
Mm.
enriched a lot. You don't need the first to understand the second, but it is enriched a lot if you've played the first. You sort of understand how things got to the point where they are because it's like wildly different from the first game in some ways. And I don't know. Anyway, I could talk about this forever. I'm not going to because we've been talking for very long, but fuck, I'm so excited and I cannot wait to see what this is. Like I will watch it day one and I will probably end up loving it because BioShock for a long time was my favorite game ever. So
Oh, didn't know that.
Nice.
yeah, I'm in.
Look at you doing favorites.
It's a very rare thing. Last thing on our news list, Atlanta to end with season 4, which has already been shot.
Yeah, speaking of
Yeah. Womp
favorites,
womp. But also
I'm sad, but no, I'm sad. Like, I'm glad that we're getting at least up to season 4,
See,
which we
I
already
feel
knew.
like I wish the announcement of that had come at least after like season 3 because first it was
Mhm.
like we got season 2 and then it was like okay, season 3 and season 4 are going to be filmed at the same time. God knows when that'll be. And then it
Right.
finally happened. And it was like okay, and then they're finally going to release season 3. And now before even any of that it's like yeah, also now you know when the show's going to end. Like
True. Yeah.
it's so
you couldn't have put
sad.
that like You couldn't have put that message in the show, like one letter at a time in a shot in each episode or some whatever fucking you have to play it backwards and then at 3 times speed and no?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No. That would have been worse. That would have been
Just have,
crueler. You'd be
just have
like,
Teddy
I
Perkins
wonder
sign
what it
language in
is.
the background.
That'd been so mean. Just like everyone's really excited to find out what the secret is, and then it's this is it. That's all. Nothing else.
Demi, you said that Donald Glover wanted the show to end after season 2?
Yeah, that's what it said in the article that I read. It was like a quote from him or something that
Yeah.
he wanted it to end after season 2.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't really say, like, I'm sad that it's ending, but I also can't say I'm very surprised because, oh my gosh, how long has it taken us just to get season 3? And all of these actors are consistently busy. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Donald's always doing something. Zazi's
Yeah.
always doing something. Lakeith is always doing something. Brian, Tyree Henry's always doing something nonstop
Yeah.
throughout the year. Like, I am not even surprised that, like, the show is coming to an end. What I'm surprised by is that it's coming to an end because Donald wants it to come to an end and not because they're all so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's kinda
like that's
crazy.
probably part of it, right? Where he's just like coordinating this is a nightmare. Like I want it to be over.
I also feel like it's one of those things where, given how well the show has done, if Donald Glover says he doesn't want to do it anymore, you go, all right, we're pulling the plug because that's kind of all you can do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But also the article did mention that he no longer has his all-around deal with Disney. Well, with FX, it was with FX, so therefore I guess it would also slightly be with Disney. His all-around deal is now with Amazon, which is where they're taking Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Ah.
It might just be that he's done working with FX and maybe he just wanted to cut it off right here. Like no confusion, nothing, just cut it off now.
Man, I really like FX. But
Me
Amazon's cool too.
too.
I think they'll let him do what he wants to do over there.
Amazon's making it come up. I'm liking quite a number of their shows. Legend of Vox Machina, Wheel of Time,
The boys.
The
Yeah, they're doing
Boys,
good.
Invincible.
Yeah, they're doing their thing over there. But yeah, they are very busy. Like I saw Zazie in 2 movies last year. I saw Lakeith in 2 movies and a TV show last year. It's
We saw
insane that they
Brian
got this
Tyree
done.
Henry in, I want to say we saw him in more than one movie last year, but I know for certain we saw him in Eternals last year. So
Yeah.
They be working. But yeah, I'll get over it. Or I'll just
at least you'll have
cry
4
silently.
seasons of Atlanta to always go back to, though.
That's the thing, and
True
you
story.
know you're gonna get all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always sad to find out like your favorite show is coming to an end, but I always find it far more satisfying to know that it's coming to an end on the terms of the creators, or like at least they know it's
Yeah.
coming in advance than for it to be canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I knew Killjoys
Yeah.
was ending. They announced that Killjoys was ending with season 5 after season 3 was completed. So they were like, season
Mm.
3 is
Okay.
over. We're getting 2 more seasons, and that's gonna be it. So at least you know the show's gonna end. It's gonna end. It's not just gonna be like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
well, we left off on a cliffhanger and we'll never know what happened.
Oh, like they almost did to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I
Like they did
was
with Prodigal
so
Son.
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mindhunter. I'm still mad about it.
Listen, you can just watch War. It'll be fine.
It's not the same.
War. And anyways, that's all we've got for you guys today.
That is all we got for you guys today.
See.
Took
Thanks
us
for coming.
forever.
Yeah.
We did say
It's
we had a lot to
quite an
talk
episode.
about.
Yeah.
We
warned
did.
you.
We did have a lot.
Thank you, audience, for listening to all that fun stuff. Thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing, putting us on YouTube, repping for the fans of Vox Machina
And Critical
Knives,
Role.
I guess, and Critical Role.
And Knives. I am a fan of Knives.
Yeah, that's concerning, but
That doesn't come
Yeah,
up often.
remember that time you just busted
I
out? Wait, no,
think
it wasn't you.
that was not me. I just think
Oh,
they're
God.
pretty.
Obviously, that sentence was going to end in a perfectly fine way, but just remember that time you almost busted out like,
No, I didn't. No. I would like to clarify. I
No,
was not the one who
It was
busted
not
out a
to
knife.
me.
It was somebody else.
Yeah, but then we found out through that interaction that Demi had a knife, like on her.
In my
not on
car.
her person at that point, but in your car. And then you showed it to me later. It
Okay,
is a
that-
nice knife.
seems like an unfortunately reasonable thing to have in your car.
Colin, you know what's crazy?
Hmm.
The person who brought out the knife, that was our first time meeting that person.
Yup, in your house.
Cool person, though. Very cool. Very
He
solid
was
dude.
really cool.
It was dope. Anyway, we should finish this outro.
Yes. Gabby, thank you for repping for the Dollface fandom, since none of us know anyone else who watches that show.
Woo, y'all should
Good to
watch
have you
it.
here.
So good.
Colin, thank you for being here with us for the first hour while we talked about stuff you didn't watch. And you kind of just sat there until the back half of the show.
But he came in for the news section and he had so much
He
to say
did.
about Bioshock, and I loved it.
He
Yeah,
did.
he came in
I
for the
loved it
trailers, the
too.
news, all of that. Just everything else, just kind of watched this, which is cool. Moral support. Anyway, audience, let us know. What do you think of Uncharted, Peacemaker, Vox Machina? Do you know how muscular you have to be to graduate from twunk status to like whatever the next thing is? In the meantime, we're going to interrogate Colin about that. But until he lets us know, hit us up in the comments or let us know on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to hit me up and talk more about Fresh Prince stuff, because man, I could do that literally all day. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at a king named Simba.
Hi, if you want to talk to me about Dollface and how awesome you think that show is, you can find me on Instagram at Stegosaurus.
If you want to talk to me about the first 2 Bioshock games, please don't talk to me about the third one. I think the third one sucks. You can find me on Twitter at DuckMcGuck.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Come talk to me about D&D, Vox Machina, Critical Role, or all sorts of tabletop RPGs, really. I'm getting into a number of them.
It's been different. Bye.
Bye.
Do they say nigga in Bioshock 3?
Okay. Do they say nigga? Probably not. Do they say the hard R? I'm pretty sure they do.
Oh,
Ugh, I hate it.
Tarantino was already involved.